Hello, this is Pro Machine, back with some more Castlevania Symphony of the Night. Tweaked my settings a little bit better, added a little bit more gain to my microphone, and turned the game volume down a little bit. That's right, last time I was here, I just killed the succubus for that little thing, which got me one of the 2 rings I need to get to the reverse castle, and through there, the real ending of the game. There's actually a few endings, but none of them are very good. It's more about the castle than about the ending. So just gonna go through this area and down into the catacombs, which has, let's see, it has the spike breaker armor, which I need as well to get the other ring that gets to the reverse castle and a whole other ending of the game. So yeah, just falling down here. I can go down to this area I couldn't do before. I forget what's here. It's something kind of important, I think. I can't remember what, though. I think it's maybe the item that prevents ice damage. And I got ice armor. I'm not sure how that compares to what I have. It's worse. I mean, except for against ice attacks, which don't really come up that often. More voice acting.
You to meet your destiny.
This is why it's worth it to actually hire actors to do voices for your game, rather than just, I think, getting whoever's around the office. Mike, who does the funny voices. I'll get that on my way back. I have to duck. He doesn't. I don't know why. Think he'd hit his head. So I got 3 layers on the backgrounds here. The way I'm implementing it, I can actually put as many sort of objects like that scroll parallax to my background. So I can probably do something like that with what I've got. See, and the one in the far back isn't animated at all. Though they added it? Ooh, that's interesting. There's a little bit of an animated tint on top of it. So in addition to sort of the static ones that they were using for shadows all over the place, they have these sort of glowing ones that they use for other effects. That's cool. And seems even more difficult to put together in an editor. Okay, as I thought. So this holy symbol, which just coincidentally looks like a snorkel, is what will let me safely move through water without taking damage over time. Pretty fast damage over time. I think it's basically just a point of health every tick. Another fun little detail is that the dog form actually... Let's see, how do you do it? Maybe you need something else to do it. There's a swimming... Yeah, the dog can swim. But I don't remember how you do it. Weird. It's actually important. You kind of need it to get the entire map completion, because... it measures where you are on the map by where the bottom of your character is, so you actually, you hit your head on the ceiling before you get to the top of the map when you're in human form. Okay. In the reverse castle, that is. You can get 100% of the normal castle. It actually goes above 100%, but you can explore the contiguous map with no problem. It's only when you're doing the reverse castle that there are bits of it that you can't quite get to. As best as I can recall, anyway. There may be exceptions that I don't remember. Had a little bit of a sneezy moment there. Let me make sure I successfully unmuted my mic after muting it. Okay, good. It'd be no fun at all to get to the end of the video only to find out that I'd failed to record half of it. And I'm pretty sure this is entirely obsolete by where I am now. Yeah, it's pretty bad. I think it's a downgrade from the dual knuckles, which itself is a downgrade from what I'm using now. Wherever they are. Way near the top. Wow, those still do a lot of damage. And I could get them normally without the shortcut now. But it's fun. It's more fun to switch up weapons every time. I mean, that the huge number of weapons is a big part of what makes this game really fun, and that they all attack differently. I mean, it's a lot of what makes Dark Souls fun as well, that there's a whole bunch of different weapons that each have their own attack pattern, and then Dark Souls even goes a little bit further by making them all mostly viable, like, for the entire game. And I know I should try not to talk about Dark Souls too much, but I think about it so much. I was just looking at the damage numbers there, and it seems like the numbers are on polygons that start off like tilted and then tilt into the proper position that you expect. Yeah, basically camera facing. And they use that as a little transition. So, as I recall, this is a pretty cool item, this weapon. I wanted to pick it up earlier, but I couldn't. But it is also two-handed. And it gives like a two-hit combo attack. And it's pretty fast too. Range isn't great. And as I mentioned before, it appears to be a tonfa rather than a nunchuck, but I guess they figured we'd be more familiar with nunchucks from Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. It's not the best weapon in the game, but it's pretty cool. And fairly unique. I can't really think of any other weapons that behave this way. And it's not bad either. I mean, compared to the Claymore I was using, it doesn't have the range, but it attacks a little bit faster. It's, pretty comparable. So, there's another area connecting to here, which is where I really want to get to. And it's down through here. The whole thing for getting here is really weird, but I think I discovered it by accident originally. I mean, the thing is, you can make a solution to a puzzle pretty obscure at the point where you have the path that the player wants to take, like, really obviously there. Because somebody's just gonna, like, when they see that dead end, they're just gonna keep on trying until they get it. And this is sort of to tell you that there's definitely a way to prevent water damage, I think. And that's about it, because that's not, otherwise, it does a lot of damage, but it's a one-time use item. And as I've mentioned before, you just can't use those that much. Oh, and it tells you about that too. I forgot about that. What did I pick up? Ah, the Herald Shield, that's right. Which we'll use when I once more get a one-handed weapon I want to use, which I think is going to be the combat knife in relatively short order. These are the secret boots, which I think, it discreetly increases height. I think it actually just scales you by like 1.01 pixels, or 1.01%, or 101%, I guess. It actually is more noticeable than I remember it being. But yeah, it's not. I mean, if I didn't have really good items in those slots already, I'd probably use it just for shits and giggles, but the shits and giggles are not sufficient in this instance. Neither shitty nor giggly enough. Oh no! Ah! There we go. Safer to do it with the bat form, faster to do it with the high jumps, and it's more fun anyway. So unfortunately, like, traveling through areas I've already been through, there isn't nearly as much to comment on effects-wise. There's that effect again for the falling water, and I'm still curious how they do that. It could be, like each individual strand, or pixel, could be like a pixel pattern, and they just stack up a bunch of those, which is probably pretty cheap on a per strand basis. And that would let them do... Let's leave him alive so I can now that I know he'll come back with the barrel. But doing it that way would let them do both sides, like the fountain where it was going both ways. So now I need to lure him into throwing this barrel at me. I think originally I found this just by like having a really hard time with those frogs, and they kept on knocking me around, and this guy was just like inching closer. I was running back. Okay. There we go. Reminds me of Dark Souls 2. There's a lot of that sort of thing, trying to lure out attacks to destroy walls and whatnot. Here's the creepy place. There's not a lot to this music, but it's successfully creepy. So this is much more what I was thinking of in terms of tile art. You know, you have this very clearly cut out border along the walls here, and then it sort of transitions into a deeper part of the wall, which is that sandy texture back there. So you have like the surface and then the inside, sort of as distinct sections of tile art, and you just texture the surfaces on the outside with the surface ones. And now these platforms are something I had not specifically considered for my game. I was thinking of platforms as mostly just sort of natural outcroppings of the wall, but I like that they're specific objects here. Like these look like decorative statues that double as platforms you can walk on. And it's the same for like all the platforms in the game. They all feel not just like a random outcropping, but like something that's integrated into the world, which is a sort of a painstaking approach. Like these platforms look like they're coming out from this pillar. I mean, it's not a perfect effect. It kind of, well, it looks like they're coming out from where the snake part is, which is all weird. You could see it as maybe them like a perspective thing, but there's no other perspective on the background, so that's not really being sold effectively. I also just love how many kind of unique decorative elements there are in the background. And it's very impressive. And I also like the animated effect, sort of rim lighting on these. It does the job both of making them pop and of, you know, sort of implying somewhat realistic lighting. It isn't really realistic, but close enough. And this is obviously, I should have mentioned it, it just seemed like it was almost not noteworthy to me that this is really cool. It's just obviously cool that the entrance here is just this giant creepy dog's head. Which also, like, it's for the boss. like it's a specific call to what the boss is going to be here. Oops. It's hard to get in on him. Oh, it just popped me up into the air. Some more range would be useful. Ah, it knocks me so far away. Here, let's get under it. I mean, this works. I can win the fight that way. And there's a secret. Well, not really a secret. It's pretty obvious. If I had a familiar here, they could open this door for me. I forget what's back there. I'm trying to remember if the fairy familiar can do this. I think it might just be the demon familiar, but maybe the fairy can too.
Thank you for giving me life.
No. She just thanks me for giving her life, which is not useful to me. Yeah, no, I need the back in your box, fairy. I need the demon familiar, and I can't remember where it is. That seems like it might be pretty good. Pretty much all these circlets just boost magic damage. 23, 27 for the topaz circlet. That seems worth it. Let's just do that. Or rather, boost intelligence, which in turn boosts magic damage. I really love these collapsing platforms. I'm not sure how they handle the collision on these exactly. I mean, the collision is mostly fairly conservative in this game, and here's another instance of 2-1 slopes. So there's definitely a lot more than just 1-1 slopes in the game. Let's see. It's a little bit hard to see if you're not used to looking at the scale or the proportions of slopes. The thing that's slightly frustrating to me is this background implies such a huge world that we're seeing such a small part of. Which is, you know, that's cool when you can do that in the game, but it's also frustrating sometimes when you think about it, because it's like, how much of this world am I not seeing? So this is sort of set up with a different kind of lighting implied too, where it's implied that the lighting is coming from that central shaft and we're along one side of it, and so everything is sort of rim lit here. These fires can do a lot of damage, as I recall. Oh wait, no, never mind. I don't know why I thought that. Ah, here's another familiar card. Is this the demon? Okay, sweet. So now I can open that door up there. Plus, yeah, he'll just attack stuff for me and things like that. Which reminds me, I can also get the sword familiar at some point here, which is my personal favorite for a couple reasons. One is, I think it's just the most interesting. Like, a flying sword is, I think, more interesting than a little demon or anything like that. And also, it, like, you can turn it into a sword and actually use it as a weapon anytime it isn't acting as a familiar. Oh, Grit didn't kill her. and the damage of the sword is equal to the level of your sword familiar, so it can actually become the most powerful weapon in the game in terms of just damage per hit. Unfortunately, its animations aren't the best, so...
A switch. Why don't I press it and see?
So it's still not that great as an actual endgame weapon, but it's cool that you can do that anyway. And sometimes you can use it paired with other weapons. I'm actually a little bit disappointed that they reused this background, the 3-skull background, but I've also never noticed it before now, so that's the sort of thing that really you shouldn't worry about as much as I do. These ladies can be really nasty. Specifically the version of them in the reversed castle. Do a lot of damage and can take a lot of damage. These ones here are just, you know, they still have most of the same attacks, I think, but they're just not as difficult. Oh right, and this is also a piece of equipment I really like, which just boosts your strength massively, and then also nerfs your defense down to 0. Which goes very well with the Alucard set, actually. Since you have basically no defense... Oops, that's the wrong one. No defense when you're using that anyway. So sure, let's go glass cannon for a little bit. Though it's not even really a cannon, since... So you can see it has a great attack animation. It's super fast. We'll see how well this works. Coral circlet. Okay, that's... Oh, immune to curses. That's cool. But also, yeah, if you look at my stats, you see my luck is up to almost 150 now. I think this is the highest luck you can possibly... Or no, wait, you could get it to 169 if you used all of this plus another lapis lazuli. But this is almost the highest luck you can have in the game. Which means lots of crits, lots of drops. So you can see what I mean, where even though it has like one of the worst damages of any weapons in the game, this is still actually an okay sword when you use it with the set. It's the worst set weapon in the game though. At least very much in the running. Here's why I was probably thinking that those guys do lots of damage. Because I was using Alucard gear and the Ring of Ares. I'm just coming in here. Actually, now that I think of it, I probably don't need to go through there to actually unlock this room for transportation. In future games they changed it so when you do this it opens up the map screen and you can just select which transportation room you want to go to, which is a much easier way of doing that. Okay, just wanted to save real quick since I'm taking so much damage from attacks now. It would be pretty obnoxious to die after unlocking all this stuff that I've unlocked. I'm just now thinking... Shit. I'm thinking there may have been another item in that... I think there was another room where I got that ring. I think there was a destructible wall and another room next to it, but I'm not certain about that. So because it's right next to this transportation room, I'm not going to worry about it right away. Yeah. And I'll just come back here. Remember, it's the snake room. I'll come back if I need to do that. Oops. Yeah, this... I may have to switch up a little bit since the odds of me dying, oops, are pretty high with this loadout. And there's nothing interesting about dying in this game. It's not like Dark Souls where you immediately get back into the action. You just have to reload your save. And plus I just got the combat knife, which I want to use. So is there any way to get any defense? No. Seems not. So let's take this off for now. Even though I love doing lots of damage, it's just... it's more likely to make me die, which I don't think is very fun to watch. And this is an extremely good weapon. See, as a two-hit combo, which you actually don't want, you just want to press forward and rapid fire it. Since that lets you attack so much faster, and it does pretty good damage as I recall. Yeah, like compared to... it only does a little bit less than that two-handed sword I got earlier. Not the Claymore, the one that does more damage than the Claymore. The S-Stock is a very different weapon in this game than it is in Dark Souls. I suspect that there may be translation issues there. Oh man. So I love these tiles. I love the tumbled bricks look, where you're like running down this slope of crumpled bricks and they come up in front of you and become a foreground element. So here they're really comfortable with these like incidental foreground elements here, but they make the walls very crisp. Or at least they do here. I guess it is more important to know where a wall is than where at least large pieces of terrain are. If you have like a small chunk of terrain that you're jumping on, like a platform, it's important to know the specifics of where that are. But yeah, like sharp corners like these are helpful then. So I think this is just a little side area over here. Yeah. Bloodstone and cat eye circlet. The cat eye circlet, this is one of the silliest items in the game. Big HP restore by cat damage. There's one enemy in the game, I think, maybe two, who attack. I guess there's like the black cats that run around really quickly. I'm not sure if it even works on those though. I think it's mostly just the witches who toss out the cats that this works for. And the bloodstone, which improves blood healing. Oh yeah, that's right. So I mentioned that before, that you can use Dark Metamorphosis. Dark Metamorphosis! And gain HP that way by any enemy that bleeds will give you HP when you hit them with an edged weapon. You have this active, which is cool. It actually makes you feel a little bit vampire-y. Vampiric. Oh, these guys don't bleed. I thought they would. So let's see. This way is where the spike armor is, but at least in terms of normal sequencing, I would need the, there's a bat ability that, there's like a dark room that you can't see through. And the only way you can see through it normally is with the power of bat. I forget what it's called. Voice of bat. There's a bunch of like upgrades to the different forms that are like in the blank of blank formats. So like Spirit of Wolf or Skill of Wolf or Fire of Bat or whatever. See, look at that, 3 crits in a row. That's pretty good. I love luck mode. Oh my god, I didn't look at this background before. I'm just looking at this crazy, like, Day of the Dead setup they got back here. Just skeletons in different outfits all lined up. It's very strange. I I think this is an animated background. It's only animated in 2 frames, but I don't think that's like a tint. Oh, I love this shadow effect. Look at that. And it's specifically me. They did it with the player character. Notice that my familiar doesn't cast a shadow at all, so it's not just like, you know, they didn't just take every sprite. Though it actually might be that we're on a different layer, me and the enemies, and that's what's casting the shadow. And there's no, like, it doesn't move further and closer to me as I jump up and down, so it's not a sourced lighting. It's probably just a mask where they duplicate the layer I'm on and then like blacken it and put it on the background. It's a really nice effect. That's another thing that I should just, you know, shamelessly rip off at some point. So what's that sword I got? Firebrand. Fire Sword of Oberon. Does a little bit more damage, probably slower. Let's check it out. Great range. And a special attack. Sweet. A lot of weapons have sort of fighting game move style special attacks. Oops, that's not what I wanted. I think I already have one of those. This is a cool sword. I like switching to this, even though I think the combat knife is probably actually a better piece of equipment. Oh, we got an alternative here. Which does a little bit more damage. Does it have a special attack? Yes, it does, and it looks fucking sweet, so let's stick with that. Some of them even have, like, 2 special attacks. There's a sword that's in, I think, the Clock Tower of the Reverse Castle, which has, like, a few different things that you can, like, spell things that you can cast with it. Oh. Oops. I'm not sure. Oh, sweet, I got another weapon, and actually this one's really cool. I like this one a lot. This is why I love luck mode so much. So it's a ranged weapon that you can throw out, and actually I can put, if I get more of, like, another one of these, I can put one in each hand and toss out 4 at a time instead of just 2. I don't think there's actually anything in here, it's just a weird dead end. There's so many backgrounds in this game. Like, as somebody who's working on a game that's not supposed to be this skill, but it's supposed to be at least a little bit in this style, it's a little bit daunting to look at just how much there is. I may spend a little bit of time farming up another chakram off camera just to have the fun of tossing these around. Walk armor is also really good. It's not very good right now. Yeah, it's a little bit of a downgrade. But as it says, defense increases with map coverage. So, you know, once you finish exploring the castle, it's pretty good. Once you finish exploring both castles, it's actually, like, really good. I think it's easily the most powerful armor in the game at that point. It does decrease your intelligence a little bit, though. And this boss is really cool. See, there's another one, another 2-1 slope. So I was completely off base when I thought there were only 1-to-1 slopes. God, this is a great weapon, especially for this fight where there's so many sections to the boss that you want to be able to hit multiples of them at once. up top. And, just send some spells through him now. Oops. Oops, I got hit there. That's the problem with having an uneven service on a boss, at least in this game. It wouldn't be a big deal in other games where you don't have an attack like that. That was close. I can do a lot of damage, as I recall. Oh, shit, I didn't know he could shoot it like that. Oh, man. I'm taking a lot of damage now. Jesus. That wasn't the spell I wanted to cast. It was actually okay. Ah, shit. I was hoping to cast Soul Steal, but it's actually really hard to cast. Let's do that one more time. Let me try and cast Soul Steal before the fight, see if I can get the hang of it. Fortunately, they provide a save point right here. So it's not a huge loss of progress, it's just a nuisance. So it's a very difficult motion to do. There we go. It is possible to do it. Probably be better off for the most part just casting Tetra Spirit. Though I also mess up casting that a fair amount of the time too. Come on. There we go. Yeah, last time I kind of just played into his hands by destroying all the outer bits first, which just let him do all his nastiest attacks. If you go straight for the core, he actually is a much easier boss. Which I kind of forgot. It's a good pile of skulls. I'll have to be sure to refer back to this if I ever need to draw a pile of skulls. So there's the same skull repeated right next to each other here. And a bunch of repetitions back here too. I'm wondering if that's like repeated as a tile, or if that's just something they did to save time on the art, and the art is all saved as one thing. What actually this looks like, now that I look at it, is it's the same texture, just scaled up and down. I don't know if that's true, or it could be true, but as I said, only in sort of the art creation phase, and not like in terms of how it's implemented technically. Oh, it's a nice effect though. And I forget what's over here. Maybe it's that bat power I was talking about. More McGill. An interesting thing I'm noticing about this game is that the bosses have almost nothing to do with your actual progression through it. Like, this guy... There was no actual reason for me to beat this boss. In terms of progression, I don't think. Is there anything else I can get to from in here? Did something get unlocked by me beating it? I don't know. I'm gonna have to look this up just to be sure. But it seems like there's not actually a reason to beat this boss. I don't know. I'll look that up. But for now, that'll do it. And I will just save that little bit of progress. So, thank you for watching, and I hope you're enjoying the series thus far. If you are, please, like, subscribe, all that good shit. And I will see you next time.